Hey guys, so the next type of triangle we want to talk about, we're still talking about special right triangles. Last time we touched on the 45, 45, 90, right? And how we know if we know one side, we can figure out all the rest because of the relationship between them, okay? And so now we have this same kind of thing going on, but if we know that we have a 30, 60, 90 triangle, so over here we got one. If we know that one side is 30 degrees, one side 60, and the other is 90, then we know that all the side lengths are always this relationship, no matter how big or small. The side lengths are going to be in proportion this way to each other. Okay, so let's just look at this. The smallest side, which is always going to be the side across from the 30-degree angle, right? Because the 30-degree angle is the smallest angle. So the smallest side is going to be across from it. Is it kind of what we base off of? It's x. Okay, so that's the number maybe, just by itself. Then we know the next biggest side, so the other leg, the side across from the 60-degree angle, because that's the middle angle, is always going to be x times the square root of 3. Okay, so whatever x was, it's that times the square root of 3. Then we know that the longest side, the hypotenuse, is just 2 times x, so 2 times the shortest side. Right, so in comparison to the shortest side, we've got the shortest side is x, the middle side is the shortest side times square root of 3, and the longest side is just 2 times x, right? So 2 times the shortest side. Okay, so this is a relationship. We're going to use this. This is something we're going to use as we move into more trig, especially for those of you, that are doing more calculus type stuff. You're going to be using it a lot. And so if we have, let's just pretend that this is a 30, 60, 90 with me. That doesn't really look like one. We'll do our best. So 30, 60, and that's 90. Okay, and this first side is 2. If we know the first side is 2, we want to find maybe B and C. We want to find our other sides. Well, we know, okay, that B is just whatever the shortest side is times square root of 3. So B is equal to 2 square root of 3. Okay, and we know that C is just whatever the shortest side is times 2. So in this case, 2 times 2, it's 4. Okay, so if we know the shortest side, it makes it really easy because the other two sides are in terms of it. But sometimes we don't know the shortest side first. So let's take a look at an example like this. Maybe we know that this one is 4 square roots of 3. And we don't know, let's call these A and C. We don't know A or C. Okay, how could we figure out what the shortest side is? Well, if we know the medium side, 4 square roots of 3, is equal to the shortest side, A times the square root of 3, right? We know that from over here. Then we can set these equal and solve for A. So now to solve for A, we would just divide by the square root of 3. These would cancel. And so A is 4. And then once we know A, right, we know that C is just 2 times A. So 2 times 4 equals 8, which is C. Okay. So that's another example. And they could give us any side, and we could divide or multiply using these ratios to find any other side length. So with 45, 45, 90s, 30, 60, 90s, you only need one side length, and we can figure out all the rest based on these ratios. This is something that's going to be pretty important, like during this time, to pretty much memorize it, so that as it comes up in later courses, at least if you've had it memorized one time, it'll be easier to recall. Okay, that's me. I memorized it when I was in high school, and now as I go back and look at it again, it's really easy for me to remember, oh yeah, long side's 2x. Medium side is x times square root of 3. So it is something that, you take some time and try to memorize it, but it doesn't have to be. You can always, refer back to your notes since you're working at home right now. And one more thing. If when you're working some of this out, like if they gave us one that looks like this, okay, and the middle side was like 4, okay, and A and C, just like we did last time, 4 is equal to A times the square root of 3, right? So we divide by the square root of 3. We don't like to leave radicals on bottom. Do you remember that? So I'm going to come over here and say 4 divided by the square root of 3 is equal to a. You have to get rid of that radical on bottom. And so to get rid of that, you multiply by whatever it is, square root of 3 times square root of 3. And then you end up with 4 times the square root of 3 over the square root of 3 times the square root of 3, which we can look at a couple of different ways. But you could see that as the square root of 9, which you know is 3, or you could see it as the square root canceling, and it's just 3. But that's how you're going to write your final answer, is with no, if I had asked you to solve for a in this case, with no radicals on bottom. You want your radical to be in the numerator, not the denominator. Okay, so that was one last thing. As always, let me know if you have any questions. This is the 30, 60, 90 triangle, and if given one side length, you can find any other 3 using these ratios.